Arthur No Fee Fitness here, and today we're talking about wearables and whether the scores on your wrist should actually change your training. Fitness watches are everywhere, recovery rings are everywhere. Apps are telling you to sleep more, train less, breathe deeper, and sometimes they're telling you all of that on the same morning. The big question is simple. Do those recovery and readiness scores help you grow, or do they just give you a new reason to second-guess the plan you wrote yesterday? No fee, no BS, just gains. Let's define what the tech is actually trying to do. Your gadget watches your heart rate at night, estimates heart rate variability (HRV) from tiny changes between beats, tracks resting heart rate (RHR), logs your sleep length and sleep timing, and it bundles those into a number that claims to represent how ready you are. In theory, lower resting heart rate plus higher heart rate variability plus consistent sleep equals a nervous system that's calmer and more adaptable. In theory, worse numbers mean you're stressed, under-recovered, or getting sick. The promise is elegant. Wake up, check a score, and auto-regulate volume or intensity like a pro. Here's the grown-up reality. Some parts of these devices are solid enough to matter, and some parts are soft around the edges. Nighttime resting heart rate is usually reliable. Heart rate variability is directionally useful when you look at trends over days and weeks, not single mornings. Sleep duration and consistency are good habits to measure, even if exact sleep stages are still a little fuzzy in consumer gear. The moment you start chasing single-day swings, you forget the point. Your body is not a stock ticker, it's a trend. So, do these scores help hypertrophy? They can if you understand what signal you care about. Muscle growth responds to training quality repeated over time. If a watch nudges you to show up better for the work earlier bedtime, steadier wake time, fewer doom scroll nights, that's money. If a ring convinces you to walk more on rest days and keep your steps up during a cut, that's money. If a readiness score tells you to slash leg day every time you're nervous, you're letting a guess override a plan. The logbook still runs the show. Think of your device as a weather report. If the forecast says rain, you don't cancel your life, you pack a jacket. Same with training. A low readiness morning doesn't mean skip the gym. It means tighten the session. Fewer junk sets, cleaner top sets, honest rest periods, and sensible exercise choices. On a high readiness morning, you don't declare war. You just earn a little more load or a rep where it makes sense. The difference between people who grow and people who stall is how they stack those decisions for months, not how they react to a single Tuesday score. There's also a psychology tax nobody names. Before wearables, you woke up, felt a little flat, got moving, and often had a great session once you warmed up. Now, you wake up to a red number and decide you're fragile. That's the trap. The technology should inform your intent, not replace it. If a score consistently becomes a permission slip to undertrain, the tool is running you. Flip that relationship. Use the data to sharpen your basic sleep timing, step count, hydration, meal regularity, then do the plan. Let me give you a clean way to test whether your watch actually helps you grow. Call it an auto-regulation experiment, not a new religion. For the first 2 weeks, don't change anything. Just collect resting heart rate upon waking, heart rate variability trend, total sleep time, sleep midpoint, and how your top sets moved in the gym. That builds your baseline. After that, for 4 to 6 weeks, use the score to fine-tune, not to rewire. When the morning signal is clearly favorable for 3 days in a row, lower resting heart rate than your personal average, heart rate variability drifting up, sleep consistent, lean into performance where it's safest. One more controlled rep on your main movement, or a small load bump that doesn't shatter technique. When the morning signal is clearly unfavorable for 3 days, resting heart rate up, heart rate variability down, sleep choppy, keep the same exercises, keep the same structure, but trim the fatigue edges. Take 2 reps in reserve instead of 1, or pull a back offset on the move that wrecks you. You're still doing the work, you're just steering around the potholes. What you'll notice is how boring the winners are. The days that build, you are not the perfect greens on your app. They're the days you felt average and trained like a professional anyway. The score didn't make you a hero, it made you a little less dumb. It reminded you to go to bed at a sane time, to stop pretending 4 hours of sleep is a personality, and to drink water like someone who likes hitting PRs. That is where these devices pay rent for lifters. Now the accuracy question. Wrist and finger sensors are fantastic for convenience, but they're not medical equipment. Light-based heart sensors read through skin and movement. Every brand has to smooth that signal with an algorithm. You get different smarts on different wrists. That's why one app will tell you that you had 90 minutes of deep sleep while another says you were a restless rock. Don't build your plan around sleep stages you can't truly verify at home. Build it around behaviors you can control and numbers that correlate with how you perform. bedtime, wake time, total sleep window, resting heart rate trend, heart rate variability trend, and your actual lifts. Here's the most practical use case for a lifter who wants muscle. Use the wearable to protect the pillars that make training better. Keep your sleep window consistent, even on weekends. Keep your steps steady so your cut doesn't rely on panicked cardio binges. Keep an eye on resting heart rate when it creeps up and stays up. There's usually a reason. Stress, late caffeine, dehydration, or you're simply stacking too much fatigue. Fix those inputs first. Then look at the gym outputs. If bar speed is collapsing, if you're missing targets you normally own, if your elbows and knees feel older than they are, those are your red flags, not just a red circle on your phone. People also ask whether these devices help with deload timing. They can, indirectly. If your trends are all pointing south for a week and the logbook agrees, you don't need permission to pull volume back. But schedule still matters. Deloads work best when you plan them and stay consistent, not when you panic every time you feel human. A watch should confirm your intuition, not train you to ignore it. Let's talk about body composition, because many of you use wearables to manage cuts. The smartest move is using steps and sleep as the two rails you won't fall off. Hit your protein target, lift with intent, and keep daily movement predictable. The gadget makes those habits easier to monitor. The readiness number is background music. Helpful to set the mood, not the reason the gym exists. If your device says you're tired, but your calories and caffeine say you can push, be careful. You can lie to the watch, but you can't lie to your joints. Choose the effort that lets you show up again tomorrow with quality. A quick word on competition between brands, because the internet loves device wars. You don't need the best wearable in the world. You need one you'll actually wear, that tracks the basics well, that you understand at a glance. Consistency beats brand. If the strap keeps you honest about bedtime, if the watch reminds you to move and breathe, if the app nudges you to cool down instead of doom scroll, it's doing its job. If it makes you anxious about numbers you can't control, fire it or turn off the features you don't need. You're building muscle, not building a dashboard. There are edges where the tech shines for strength athletes. Morning resting heart rate as an early illness or overreach flag, heart rate variability drift across a mesocycle as a stress barometer, and sleep timing data if your schedule is chaotic. There are also edges where it's less helpful. Exact sleep stages, one-day readiness drama, and prescribing your set-to-set decisions like a coach in your ear. Keep those boundaries clear and your training gets cleaner, not noisier. So, do watch and ring scores help you grow. They help you recover better so you can train better. They help you organize your life so your training wins more often. They do not replace progressive overload, and they don't know your technique, your effort, or your honesty. The best lifters I know use data like mirrors, not like drivers. They look, they adjust, and then they go lift the thing. Run the experiment. Give yourself 6 to 8 weeks where you collect calmly, adjust lightly, and judge by performance and physique, not just by a morning score. If your top sets keep moving and your body composition trends where you want, while your device shows steadier sleep and calmer resting heart rate, you've proven utility. If the numbers are making you tentative, Arthur No-Fee Fitness here, and today we're talking about wearables and whether the scores on your wrist should actually change your training. Fitness watches are everywhere. Recovery rings are everywhere. Apps are telling you to sleep more, train less, breathe deeper, and sometimes they're telling you all of that on the same morning. The big question is simple. Do those recovery and readiness scores help you grow, or do they just give you a new reason to second guess the plan you wrote yesterday? No fee, no BS, just gains.